Common values. Common goals. Common sense. The Common Sense Podcast with Semi Bird.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Common Sense with Semi Bird. This is episode 37. I'm Semi Bird, your host. This is the episode I think everybody's been waiting for. I don't know. I have been. I'm excited about today's episode for many reasons, and I don't know where to start, but let's just start by saying again, thank you to everybody out there for all of your support, your kindness, your grace. My wife and I, my daughters, we're doing great. We're happy. We're blessed as always. We just got back from several days of, I would say, vacation, post-campaigning vacation. And yes, it's clear to us that the numbers as they have been coming in, it's very significant. It's not what we expected. It's not what we wanted, but it is what it is. Move on, drive on, look for the next opportunity to serve. And that's for all of us. We should be thinking about getting more active, more engaged, becoming a precinct committee officer, getting active in your party. Now, we'll talk more about that and the party and such. There's a lot to cover today, and I don't even know where to start. But as always, besides saying thank you to my most amazing campaign team, my brothers and sisters who did everything that they could, and many of you don't know this, my campaign team are not salaried. These are people who gave of their heart, their souls, their blood, sweat, and tears to get out there and spread a message of hope, a message with solutions, with actions to make Washington State greater than it ever could be. And it does not end when a campaign is over. That message must continue. The movement, the grassroots movement must continue. And I can guarantee you, Semi Bird, and now some of you haters will say, well, he's talking about himself in the third party. I'm not done. I'm not defeated. But I'm willing to call it as what it is in terms of this round. And it's good. We drive on. Okay, I'm going to look to my left. We've got a window. We have feeds coming in from X, from Instagram. We're on Rumble. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. And for all of you coming to us, we are live. So this is organic, unrehearsed, unscripted. I've got some documents here, and we don't have questions. I don't think I received any questions. And if they did come in, I didn't receive them, so we drive on, and that's okay. But I downloaded something from the Washington State Republican Party website, and this was on a whim, so we're going to read through this together. But I glanced at it before coming down. I'm going to tell you guys, I got emotional after reading this in a very positive way. So we're going to look to the left. This is a window where we have people tuning in, a lot of comments come in, we have questions that'll come in. And I'm going to answer questions from here. We'll have some conversations from this window. And have grace again. We have a lot of people with a lot of comments all at once. And I may miss some people. I've missed my own relatives, family members, and people that I just love and adore that, again, don't take it personal. So I'm looking to the left. I'm going to say hi to everyone. I see some of my dearest friends here. Thank you very much, you guys, for tuning in. Thank you for logging in, and thank you for participating. And I'm going to look for questions. And so if you guys have a question here, you have to make it very clear so I can see it. So those are the rules of the game. And again, be kind to one another on these things. Because I'm going to tell you, after the election, and we're in, I don't know, I'm lost in time. I think it's been a week. I believe the election's not certified for a few more days now. Or I don't know, maybe it's tomorrow or the next day. I've been on vacation, and I'm looking at my phone just to check the date, because when you're on vacation, you don't pay much attention. But once it's certified, it's certified. But I'm not going to wait. We don't need to wait. We're good with that. I want to read a few things. This is from the platform of the Washington State Republican Party. We can all acknowledge that politics can be very evil. And I, for one, know it to be true. I felt it. My wife has felt it. My children and family has felt it. Shouldn't be that way, but it is what it is. I'm not making excuses for it, nor should you. But this was something that was beautiful, because for me, as a man who felt a calling to serve, and then to go through what I went through, what my family went through, just for simply feeling a calling to serve, to give of yourself, to try to do good things for others and for your state. I mean, I was raised here since I was a little boy of 6. My whole life, this is my home. This is where I retired and very likely where I will die and be buried, along with my mother, that single woman who raised me and my siblings. So the reason I'm sharing this with all of you out there, keep these things into consideration when you bring your comments and your vitriol and your opinions. Understand that on the other side, there are human beings, people with feelings, people with children with feelings, and husbands and wives with feelings. And I would ask you all, because it seems like sometimes, are you adults or are you children? Do you have children? Do you have grandchildren? Do you have siblings or relatives who have children? Have you ever been around children? And then I would ask you, are you modeling the behaviors that you would want to model for those children? Anybody? Are you with me? Because some of the things I've seen, it's concerning. Is this how we conduct ourselves? But then, as I've gone through so much and have had my doubts, I mean, being a lifelong Republican since my first vote when I was able to vote at age 18, I was a Republican. So I'm not a walkaway. I've never been a Democrat. I have relatives that are Democrats, and obviously I've told you guys over and over again, I love them. They're my family. But I've never been a Democrat. I've never voted Democrat. And don't get me wrong, it's not like, Martian Venusian. It's just, I don't know. I've only been a Republican. So many of us, we do that whole down ballot thing, and, we have our party kumbayas, and then I became a precinct committee officer, and then a committee man, and acting, then party chairman, and then on the executive board of the state party, and then I ran for governor, and then after all the knives in my back, I started to have doubts about. But then I read this, and so I'm going to start this as I'm rambling on. The Washington State Republican Party stands for freedom, prosperity, and the opportunity. The principles of our party recognize our God-given liberties. God-given liberties. So even if you don't believe in God, and I do, many of you understand that. You've heard me profess my faith. Unafraid and unashamed. And before I move on, let me ask you guys something. Have you ever known someone running for a public office at this level to ever speak of his or her faith as I have? So when you think of MJ Mulhans, the state committee woman, Republican Party, the faith leader for the Washington State Republican Party, who called me the devil, the Leviathan. And I'm not trying to bust anybody out, but this must be said. For me to love Christ and my Lord as much as I do, and to profess my faith publicly, even during a political campaign from the very beginning, when people said, no, you don't do that. You don't talk about God and your faith. This is politics. You heard what I just read. Our God-given liberties, while promoting opportunity for every American. So this is to acknowledge that our founders, who wrote our Constitution, acknowledge Judeo-Christian values influenced the foundation of our constitutional republic. I've been very clear that I love everyone and that I support Article 1, Section 11 of the Washington State Constitution, which states that we have a freedom of consciousness to choose how we believe and who we believe in, or whether we choose to believe in anyone or not. And I profess that I support that. It's our right. It's our constitutional right. But when you bring such hate towards an individual to where you bring their faith in, so much so that you literally take someone and call them the devil, and then call that person's followers cult members. And then you have so-called conservative media call them cult members. Are you guys hearing what I'm saying? I'm not trying to bring up old news. It's not that long ago, a week ago, and still going on. I bring it up because if you look at the 2024 Washington State Republican Party platform, it says it right there at the very top. God-given liberties to choose. We are dedicated to preserving an independent constitutional republic through active participation by citizens for the protection and the preservation of foundational values, including the sanctity and dignity of human life, religious freedom, I just said, personal rights and responsibility, preserving a free society, free markets, free trade, limited government, lower taxes. We can go on to these things, but it's important to understand the foundation. And so all of you who may be tuning in to this podcast right now, this is my last podcast as, well, not my last podcast. We're going on. But talking about my campaign for governor, which is over. But we must discuss, if you are a Republican, what do you stand for? Because this helps you. And if you get lost in what it is, please go to the Washington State Republican Party website and look up the platform. The good news, it's nice and fresh as of 2024, and it's got some beautiful stuff. It made me feel good. I came off of a wonderful executive committee meeting for my county, Benton County Republican Party, an amazing party, and my executive committee, who I love, those amazing leaders. We had a great meeting last night, and we are reaffirmed this. To each generation falls the responsibility to uphold the values that have made the United States the freest, most prosperous, compassionate, and successful civilization in history as we confront security threats from international unrest, terrorism, economic threats, and ever-increasing, state intervention in social and political threats from liberal cultural elites. Liberal cultural elites, threats from liberal cultural elites. Now, let me ask you something, folks. Are the threats strictly from liberal cultural elites? Does anybody believe that? I think we need to make a change here. State committee members, if you're watching this, and anybody, PCOs, go to your local parties, whatever county, they need to change this. Because I know one of my oaths says, protect and defend, foreign and domestic. This should read liberal and or. Because I think we've had some threats from within the party when you have individuals who are party officials who threaten what this document actually says. Are we going to be the party of hypocrites where you talk about freedom, liberty, free will, God-given rights, and then the words coming out of your mouth or your deeds are in contravention of this document? I have a concern with that. So we're not going to just put the responsibility and call them liberal elites because we saw the donor class at work most recently. But we must stand firm in defense of our nation and our ideals. Stand firm in defense not only of our nation, but our ideals. So we've talked about this. How much are your values, your ideals, and your beliefs, how much are they worth to you? What is the price? What is the price that you will compromise your ideals, your beliefs, and your values? That you will compromise for what? That'll come up shortly. Remember what I just said. We see these times and the challenges they represent as an opportunity to return to those principles that have made us great. Principles, ideals, values, those words, do they mean anything to anyone? 2024 platform, revised, redone, reiterated, whatever, it's fresh. Republicans believe in the promise of our great nation and the inherent goodness of its ideals. There's that word again, the inherent goodness of our ideals. Is that unique amongst Republicans? Or is that human? Republicans don't own that. Democrats don't own it. These should be human ideals we should be talking about. Will reaffirm the principles, there's that word, principles of the American's Creed, which was established by our founders over 2 centuries ago. We believe their vision is best preserved by supporting the principles, that word principles, outlined in this document. And I love this document. And here's the American's Creed. I believe in the United States of America as a government of the people, by the people, for the people, whose just powers are derived from the consent of the governed, a democracy and a republic, a sovereign nation of many sovereign states, a perfect union, one and inseparable, established upon those principles of freedom, equality, justice, humanity, for which American patriots sacrificed their lives and fortunes. I therefore believe it is my duty to my country to love it, to support its Constitution and obey its laws and respect its flag, and to defend against its enemies. And again, in the military, we say all enemies, foreign, domestic. I'm going to just read this one last part. We reaffirm the words in the Declaration of Independence that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator to certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from, again, the consent of the governed. And we maintain the most effective government in which it's closest to the people, in that which is closest to the people. There's so much I can read in this, and there's more. There's a reason why I'm reading all of this to you, because since the election, in which I acknowledge we had like 10.6 something, and Dave Reichert had 27 point something, and Bob Ferguson had 45 point something. Mark Mullet, the sitting senator, had 6 point something. The numbers are the numbers, and there's more to be said about that. But now that the election's over, you have so many people with so many things to say, so many opinions, and so ready to attack one another. One of the first attacks came from one of, I don't know if it's one of my fans, or a man hell-bent on ruination of myself, my family. Am I being not only publicly lynched, but driven out of town? The state where I was raised in, where I retired, where I plan on, again, dying in, to be buried next to my mother, who's buried in Bellevue? Jason Rance? Is the brother supposed to leave the state? Because after the election was over and it was clear that Byrd for governor was not going to advance to the general election, you felt it was necessary, rub it in, an embarrassing defeat or whatever your words were, and then some allegation that Semi Byrd is going to destroy the Republican Party based on your words, rumors. Are y'all tuning in? Is this on? Is this thing on? Rumors that somehow I was going to be running to replace Jim Walsh as chairman of the Washington State Republican Party. Number one, why would I want to replace a party that did everything to participate in the ruination of my life and my family, to undermine my campaign? That's number one. Number two, I've never had a discussion with anybody to do that. I never even had the thought. I didn't even discuss it with my queen, my wife, my commander-in-chief. But yet Jason Rance saw fit to not only rub in the results of the election. It wasn't enough. You attack a man's military service, 21 years of service, both Marine Corps and Army, but that means nothing. There is no depths. But after losing the election, you have to rub it in and then attack on rumors that I somehow want to take the helm of a party that participated in violating my right to privacy by releasing a stolen document. Not only no, but heck no. Never crossed my mind, Jason. And for anybody else that would perpetuate in that lie, can we put that to bed? No desires. Now, I am the chairman of the Benton County Republican Party, and I love my party. I love my executive committee and the people in my county who have been so kind to me, continue to be. And to everyone out there that has brought love and compassion, kindness and grace, thank you. But can we put that lie to bed? Do you see what they're doing? And what I want you to understand is simply this. What they're bringing forward to you right now, if you look at the numbers, add them up. Dave Reichert is 27%. I had 10%. Let's just say we acknowledge that would be 37%, right? But let's just add a few more. Let's just go 38, 39. Is that enough? Is that enough? But are they setting me up, us up, individuals who don't go along to get along? Are they trying to make an excuse to say that somehow I'm responsible for an anticipated loss in the general election? Is that what's happening? Because why are you attacking when you would assert that I lost the election? What's happening here? I have not attacked anyone. And here's another question that I would like to know. Have you asked Dave Reichert, does he want the endorsement of, as Dave says, a con man, a snake oil salesman, a crook, and a thief? Does he want to be saddled with the baggage of my support? Have you asked him that? All of you out there who for the last week or however amount of time, who's been losing your minds on social media, Dave Reichert, Dave Reichert, Dave Reichert. Oh, better yet, Bob Ferguson. Bob Ferguson, do you realize the level to which you have elevated this man? I'm not even sure if he's a man anymore. I mean, does he walk? Does he float? How does he get from point A to point B? Because the way folks have elevated him to some kind of deity of danger that you would propose, that you would coerce, threaten, intimidate voters to vote one way, or else either you do this or that. Either you're hearing what I'm saying. So have you asked him, does he want that baggage strapped to his successful campaign? Have you asked him? I'm looking for any notes here. Anybody? I'm looking for the remarks. I'm looking for the comments. How many of you can say, yes, I've asked Dave, because he hasn't called me. His campaign did not call me. I'm okay with it. I mean, and by the way, to all of you, if I haven't said it, who voted for me and for Dave, and for anybody else, thank you for getting out there and voting. Thank you. Thank you. I'm proud of you. Well, we voted too. We voted as well. So before you start to attack other people, before you start to suppress votes, some of us call this election integrity. Before you forget what the platform of the Washington State Republican Party is, some of you are chairmen, I saw. Party leaders, not chairman of the state party. I'm not talking about Mr. Walsh. I'm talking about county levels. A vote for this is a vote for that. A vote for this is a vote for that. Do you guys remember not too long ago when they said, either you vax or you mask up, or you will be responsible for the deaths of innocent. Either you do this or you will get that. Either you do this or that will happen. And what did they do? They suppressed our rights. What do we call this? Our God-given rights, our freedoms, our liberties. Either you do this as we tell you to or that. How many Republicans have you seen just go to on Facebook, just the post of this podcast where we said we're going to have episode 37, Common Sense with Semi Bird, and I will talk about my endorsement announcement. But all of the comments, and then go across social media. Either you vote for Dave Reichert or you are responsible. What did Brandy Cruz say? You're not supporting law enforcement? People are saying you are responsible for all kinds of atrocities. Can you call that voter intimidation? I could. Anybody? What say you? And this is not me calling names. This is not me intimidating anyone. This is just me. I'm asking questions through my assertions. Is this constitutional? Do we have God-given rights? I saw someone post, I will exercise my right to do this, not vote, or write in someone else. And a person said, well, then you will take us down with you. Someone else said, well, then you are a Democrat. And someone else says, then you are, you know what? And they just start calling names. So either you do this or you are responsible for that. And I thought we had, according to this, that Republicans stood for. But no, it only seems that they stand for this when it's convenient. Now, I'm the first one to say, there's no way in heck I am voting for Bob Ferguson. And I don't know the man, but I know what I have seen and how he has failed in the position that he has, and there's no way I could ever support him ascending to a higher position. But at the same time, because I do believe in America and I support the Constitution of the United States of America, how can I suppress another citizen's vote or intimidate them or threaten them or make them feel a certain way? Would I not be a hypocrite if I cling to this platform and call myself a Republican? I don't know. Am I speaking out of my fourth point in contact? I'm sure as soon as this is over, am I back to being a devil again? It's for a minute, for Pierce County, for the state committee woman who I'll probably see this weekend because we have the state party. You all should go there. I think it's going to be in Wenatchee, the Washington State Republican Party state committee meeting where we all come together. I'm a party chairman. I'll be there with my state committee man and my state committee woman. So we're all going to be all there. You should all come and see. I think it's open. I don't know. Call and ask the party. Is this open to the public? I thought it was. Call. Find out. You should watch us in action. See what happens there. We should be transparent. Is that something we stand for, Republicans? Do we stand for transparency? I do. I welcome everyone. So we're going to be there. So I was going to say, I was wondering with all the talk about how evil Bob Ferguson is, does that mean I'm no longer the devil? Does that mean that people who just supported a guy that had solutions, a man who never called names, a man who never called Dave Reichert names, who never called Bob Ferguson names? I admit the E word slipped out twice actually, EVIL. I did not intend it to come out, but it did. I don't know him, so it's not fair for me to say. I didn't say he is. It just came out. But I never called Dave Reichert any names, ever. I refer to him as a gentleman. I compared myself to him. But I ran a clean campaign, as people would say I did. And then the other side ran what others would call a dirty campaign. Mudslinging, ruination, defamation, and slander. I'm ready to forgive and move on. But it appears that, well, there is no forgiving because we're still going to attack. And not only are we going to continue to attack, we're going to set not only the candidate up, but anyone who ever supported them, we're going to set them up for the possible results of a general election, not because of what I did. Because, by the way, in every episode that we've ever had, have you ever heard me say the words that we will put people over party, Constitution over party, people over politics? You ever heard those words from me? I believe you have. Oh, here's another shocker for you. Every single podcast, have you heard me not say, if you support me, you will not call names to other candidates. You don't call Dave Reichert names. Don't attack. Do you remember hearing me say that? Almost every podcast. So here's the question. Did you hear those words come from the other gentleman? But yet now it's over with. I mean, you could just sit back on your laurels and snicker or something, but do you still have to attack people who supported a campaign, people who supported me or myself or my family? Is it necessary? So I'm done. It's not a pity party. I'm happy. I'm blessed. I was happy and blessed before I started this. I met so many beautiful people every single day, it seemed like, that I was campaigning. And I would ask you this, folks. How many people did you see work harder than I did campaigning for 21 months to earn your vote? Not to intimidate you, to buy it, not to use money, but just old-fashioned, old school. Just get out there and try. Try. Ethically. I had so many messages from people who message me, and I will post these if they get their permission, from minority communities. And they said, I was getting involved, but I've got to ask you, Simi, why would you expect us to get involved in your party that would attack you the way they attacked you, being the first Black American to ever be nominated for governor for any party? Why would we be a part of that? And let me be clear, for anybody watching, it was never, in my opinion, about race. It's simply dirty politics. Maybe with some people, I would wonder why you would immediately call someone a devil. That just doesn't seem normal and right, especially when it's obvious that the person is a man of faith. But I would say no. It was nothing to do with the color of my skin, but everything to do with I was grassroots. I'm not establishment. I'm not a mainstreamer. I believe in the Constitution. I believe in holding ground for this and every word in this. I don't believe in moving this over here. I believe in keeping this right where it is because this is good. That's what I believe in. And so, my friends, everything I said when I was campaigning, I stand for. Is that so strange to all of you who would attack me for standing on these beliefs, these values, these ideals, these principles? Is that wrong? Well, then if it is, you may want to change your platform. And if you do, then I will leave because that means I am no longer a Republican. This I will stand for and I will die for. You change this and I'm gone. Period. So if you want to get rid of me, change that. And there's your solution. So now let me go over here and I'm just going to take a few questions. There's so much here, you guys. And for those of you who submitted your questions, I may have missed it because I was doing quite a bit of monologuing. And let's see what we have here. This is from Misty Ray. Can someone explain to me what the benefit would be to our election in writing? Oh, in a writing candidate. So, Misty, if it's so much, and there's so many questions. This is a good. Misty, thank you for bringing this up. My friends, I ran as governor in the primary election. If you write me in, your vote will not count. It would essentially be a protest vote. So you cannot elect Simi Bird for governor via write-in. There's a law that says you cannot do that. Anybody who ran for a specific office cannot become a write-in for the same office. And I would have had to have filed within a specific period of time for another office. But as I said from the beginning, call to one office, go with one office. That's why I never took the bribe to be lieutenant governor, right? I never took the bribe or the threat, save your reputation, and maybe they wouldn't have ruined me within the state or my businesses, et cetera, et cetera. So, Misty, I hope I answered your question. Yeah, that's it. John S., who would he endorse? John, you haven't missed anything yet. I haven't disclosed, so stay tuned. Hang out. That's good. So for those of you who are coming in late, Semper Fi is what I saw. I love you, brother, sister. AKA, you can't tell, but Semper Fi says it all, do or die. And that is true. And I mean that. Lifelong Republican. All right. Oh, someone says lifelong Republican, that is no more. Boy, that says a lot right there. Looking for questions. Lori, thank you for everything you did. Oh, John K., I don't know what to say, brother. Your love, your faith, your wisdom, your friendship, can never say enough. And I got to stop that because there's so many of you out there. Todd, I see you. So many good people. How can I, where there is no sadness? Because when you walk in the light and you serve God, it's nothing but joy. And it's beautiful. And guys, while I'm doing this, looking for questions, let me just give some updates for you. So I have a concern with what we're seeing, as I shared with you. I think it's election interference. I think it's voter suppression. I think it's un-American. I think it's unconstitutional. And I think anybody who claims to be a Republican, what you shall do is you should support our platform and acknowledge that everyone has a right to vote how they choose. You can acknowledge the fact, like we just did about write-in. Note, if you don't vote, well, then we should be getting more people to vote. We should get more people to register to vote because you looked at voter turnout. Acknowledge that. But I would think a common sense perspective would say that you don't threaten someone or intimidate someone or try to coerce someone into voting by guilting them into voting. If a person does not like a candidate, for you to try to threaten them or coerce them or intimidate them, that does not make your case. And let me just say this other, in my opinion, nonsense. The lesser of two evils, better than. Is that your criteria of desperation? Has anybody stopped to think about the Democrats looking at this clown show? Anybody? I'm being objective. I mean, I'm going to go back down. I'm sorry. If I missed your questions up here, guys, I was going up to look at questions I missed. But I want you guys, I'm asking a question. Has anybody stopped to think about Democrats? And again, not like they're aliens or anything. Like I said, I've never been one, so I don't know. But imagine them watching this, what I call a clown show. And that could be offensive. And I said it, so I own it now. But that's exactly what I'm seeing. It's the way we attacked. And by the way, again, not this guy. Because leaders don't do that. And where's the level of maturity? We should be running based on solutions, talking about issues and what we bring to the table. But where's the strategy? So what I'm saying is, for the next election cycle, may I please recommend for all you professional consultants and Republican Party gurus, please do not try to ruin the other Republican candidate and their families' lives. I mean, can you consider that? And maybe respect Ronald Reagan. I mean, he used to be the big dog. He used to be someone we respected. I still do. Y'all remember Ronald Reagan? 11th commandment, Republicans shall not speak ill of other Republicans, but you all lost your minds. You not only speak ill, you will literally take, I'm surprised no one's come down my street with torches yet. So, and you got conservative media pigpiling on? I mean, do you think that maybe you drove people away? Do you think that maybe other people said, I want nothing to do with that? And do you think Maybe the people on the other side are so much emboldened to go, holy goodness, y'all are crazy, lost your minds. We got this. And maybe that's why they have 45%. And with Mark Mullet, 6%. Can you say 51? I'm allergic to math, so I don't know. I'm probably not even adding up correctly. And have you seen the return on votes? I mean, you've already acknowledged. I got 10.6 maybe. I haven't looked at the latest, and maybe it's over with. But did you look at the return votes in King County? What is the percentage Republicans need to get in King County to win? You guys kept saying this all election long. Was it not 40%? Anybody? Someone can help me out with that and the questions here, the messaging. How do we do on that? Did we get it? Did Dave get it? I know I didn't, according to the numbers. Nowhere close. But how does that look for the general election? And then you can say, well, it's the general, down ballot, more votes. Here's from a statistical analysis, and I have done this at a doctoral level. So, but don't take my word for it. Go to University of Washington or someplace else, ask someone else. You will see a pattern. It's a trend, a characteristic duplication with higher numbers, meaning the character pattern that you see now at this level with this number of votes, you're going to see repeated with just more votes. Check it out. Ask someone. Phone a friend. So next time, be nice. Ronald Reagan, maybe he was onto something with his 11th commandment. Stop attacking people. The time to coalesce and unite does not happen after the election's over with, after the primary's over with, after you've beat people to death, and then you ask them after you pick them up bloodied and bruised and say, hey, I know I burned down your village, but would you mind supporting us? Does that make any sense to anybody? I dare say it shouldn't. But then you'll go, but we can't have Bob. Anybody but Bob, the lesser of two evils. And that somehow is a justification for what? Especially knowing that there's this. Think on that for a minute as I go to a few questions before I move on. We're going to keep our podcast going. So here's what's happening. Common Sense with Semi Bird is going to continue. We're going to have a different format of the show. Starting next week, we're going to be looking to bring in guests. We're going to have national and international guests. We'll be talking about current world events, not just in Washington State, internationally. So the podcast is going to go on. We the people will be talking about the Constitution. Here's what else is going to happen. We're going to be talking about different perspectives. So many of you heard, and again, so now I can bring, again, more truth to the truth that I told the whole time. Remember when I told you I taught diversity and inclusion, but not DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, different cultures, different perspectives, different generations. I taught that. It was a lecture. So I'm going to have young people on the show, very young people. We're going to get their perspectives. I want to hear from them, and I want you to hear from them. Some maybe from Turning Point USA. We're going to have some folks from different cultures. So we're going to have some folks in from the NAACP. We're going to have people in from different groups. We're going to hear their perspectives. I want their perspectives on the Constitution, on our founding fathers, what we read here. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. The Republican Party, and what I didn't read to you, more beautiful stuff. I literally, I'm not embarrassed to say, you all know me, I'm a gummy bear. I came close to tears reading this because I was this close to saying, they don't want me. They don't want me in this party. I'm not sure I belong. And then this reminded me why I became a Republican. The party of Abraham Lincoln is what it says. You'll see it when you read it. We are the party of Abraham Lincoln. I mean, 1854, the party of abolition, the party of civil rights. You heard me say it, but it's contained in the document that you'll get off the Washington State Republican Party website. It's beautiful. So I want to ask someone from the NAACP reading this, how can you not support this? And so many of those people that I was telling you about that I have been talking to in the Central District who were with us, they understood. And they said, if this is true, then we will support you on this. And so I want to ask the general public, why would they not support us on this? Because I believe that instead of us continually compromising and moving to the left, we need to take this message out to the streets so that people can understand we stand on the right and righteous side. Let's educate them and help them to understand what they're missing and why the squalor and despair and the economical crisis where seniors can't afford to live anymore and on a fixed income, and veterans on a disability, and so many young people who cannot afford a decent apartment or able to buy a house. It's because we're not doing this. We need to take that message there. We don't need to compromise our principles, our values, our morality anymore. We need to protect our children's innocence and stand firm. That's what I believe in. I've told you this, and I will never compromise from that. It doesn't change. And I have a right, according to this document and the platform of this party, I have a right to stand on what I believe in. I have a right to praise God and to serve God. And just because someone thinks that she and her executive committee in one county can label me as the devil, it does not make it so. And no matter what anybody says or does to disparage me, vilify me or my family, you own no residency here or here. That space is taken by my Lord Jesus Christ. Oh, you heard me what I said. Amen. There is so much I want to say. So we're going to continue our podcast. And here's something else. My continuous adventure in service, I just got riled up, you guys. Initiatives. I've always supported the initiatives. We will continue to support the 4 initiatives that are on the ballot in the general election. We must. They're good for everyone. It's common sense. All things common sense. But it's not enough. I will be leading an initiative for election integrity. We need to bring back in-person voting. Paper ballots, in-person voting, paper ballots, and needs to be brought. The talk is cheap. It's time to take action. So we're going to start a fund for election integrity and to bring an initiative. Someone wants to join me? Join. I will not just do that initiative within one specific group. I will be taking this initiative and creating a working group that includes people from different communities. So when this hits the streets, I want people who would not ordinarily vote for a Republican, who will read and understand the values and the security of our voting system and support election integrity, support the reason behind the initiative that will bring us back to in-person voting and paper ballots, same day. So that is something that I am committed to. That is my new project. And I wanted to share that with you today. And that is just the beginning. I'm a writer. I love writing. I'm a critical thinker. As you know, I'm an academic. And so I have to give. I never wanted to be in politics. I told you that. And again, you're going to find out now that this election is over with for Semi Bird and his family. Well, you're going to see that everything I told you was what I told you. It was the truth. But I don't want to be in politics. I don't want to be state party chairman. That actually makes my stomach upset. But I want to give. I want to serve. And this is one way I can do that. Getting people in marginalized communities who don't vote, young people, to vote. Get them registered. I want more precinct committee officers. So I'm going to get out there and start knocking on doors in places that people don't knock on doors. I'm going to do that. It'll make me feel good that I know I'm doing something that is good. That's how I'm going to roll. And I'm going to build a working group. So we're going to keep this movement going. If you believe in God and the Constitution, and if you don't believe in God, I'll pray for you and I'll still love you. But if you believe in the Constitution and the values of America and what I read to you, it's beautiful. Then stay with us. Stay with the movement. Keep tuning into Common Sense with Semi Bird every week. It's going to be fun. It's going to be much better than what we've been doing. No political well, there will be a lot of political, but cultural as well. It'll be fun. It'll be great. Okay, let me take a few questions, and then I'm going to, oh my goodness, get ready to wrap up. Share the endorsement. Get that done. Okay, guys, I'm crazy. What is your county party doing to cure ballots? Oh, thank you. Someone said Washington Reagan Caucus. I like that name. We're just talking about Reagan. So we were talking about that last night. So we are actually out there curing ballots. And folks, what that means is we have match back data. And so we have teams in every one of our legislative districts. And we have LD leaders, legislative district leaders. I'm the chairman of my party. I say that. My PCOs run my party. I know how it works for all y'all on the other side or in other places, but I serve them. And my LD chairs, they are amazing, and they do all the work. So they're out there, and they're getting folks motivated, and we're going door to door. We're making phone calls. We're sending texts. Hey, we noticed you get your ballot in. We're not seeing your ballot returned. Did you get this? Can you verify that so we're making sure. So we're actually, and the state party, young lady sent out an email to help us, to give us guidance on how best to do that. Our state committee woman, she has been a champion on this as well. She's taken lead. So I give credit to all those. And so to give you a generic answer, we have amazing people that are taking lead in this. Our state committee women, our LD chairs, and our PCOs are on the case to make sure. And we have an amazing, in my opinion, Sue Peterson, someone who I've supported from the very beginning. She's brilliant. She's a biologist and a brilliant woman. I just want someone very qualified to be in the position of lands commissioner. And so she's like right there. And I haven't checked today because I was doing some writing. And so I'm praying for that outcome. So I hope I answered your question. And thank you for that question. And that's just another example of what we need to do. Getting out there in ballot collection for next elections and getting people involved, not just becoming precinct committee officers. Some people don't even know what that means. But school boards, city council positions, county commission positions, those are things that touch home. So and this election's not over. It's not just the governor's race, down ballot. I mean, auditor. I mean, other positions that we need to focus and fight to make sure those people get in there. So we've got to get folks in. We've got to get folks in, you guys. And so that's so much work to be done. So much work to be done. So just looking for some more questions. Am I going to run again next cycle? Scott asked me. This will be the fourth, maybe fifth time someone's asked me that in the last 72 hours. Guys, my immediate answer is no. Someone asked me this. We had such a wonderful few days off, and we were with friends, and I came together with a working group of our movement. When I say this, it's not something crazy. It's just fellowship. We're just people that just, I think we all love God and love our country, and we just, and we love each other. And we came together at a vacation spot on the east side of the state, and my family was there, and I was visiting with someone I love very deeply, Leslie, and it was just wonderful. And someone who I met just at an event, and he knew me, and he voted, I believe, for me, and when he asked me if I was going to run again, he said he was going to support me, and I said no. And then I said, you have to ask my wife, but no. And then someone else asked me, and so guys, it's coming up. I'm rambling. I'm not giving you a straight answer. My heart says no, because you may not believe me, and that's fine. This was a calling for me to serve in that position. So it's non-political. This whole thing has been non-political for me, and I know it sounds ridiculous to some, but I serve God, and if I get called, I get called. But in the meantime, I'll contribute as I told you I'm going to do. I will bring a voice. I will try to bring common sense to a world that is unkind and vitriolic and often cruel, and try to bring unity, not at the compromise of other people's human rights or constitutional rights. That is hypocrisy, and I will not be a part of it. I'm talking about unity around something good our constitutional rights, protections, protecting our children, things of that nature, not political. As I've always said, Constitution and people over party and over politics. That's what I believe in, and I've said that over and over and over again, and it hasn't changed since we lost the primary. So imagine that, someone who says what he means and does what he says. Yeah, the election's over for me, but I will honor what I said during the campaign trail. And if you want to be mad at me for that, be mad. But I will not compromise my integrity for you to compromise your integrity for something else. So that's just how that rolls. Okay. Let's see what else we have going on here, you guys. Dun, 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 dun. We're getting close. Getting ready to wrap. I'm going to the bottom, and then I'll work my way back up. You guys are amazing. And again, I hope I'm making sense to you guys. I've really enjoyed our time. Someone said, Mullet Democrat Semi isn't running anymore. No, I am not. Let's see. So that is true. And some people thought I was. And people are like saying, I mean, I get it. I've seen this throughout the campaign trail. People say not nice things, and that's sad. But it's amazing. It's like, do people still think I was still running or something? It's like, didn't you lose the primary? And it's like, well, can you add? I mean, it was this gentleman on the thread. You'll see it when we were doing the reminder or something. And they ask it like, it's like, are you being not so? Or are you thinking I'm being that so? No, it's all good. So who should we write it? No, Allie Kell, thank you for that. No, you put whoever you want to on your ballot or vote for whoever you want to. And I encourage you. So if you want to vote for Dave, vote for Dave. Absolutely. And for those of you who support him and vote for him, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I said, even at the convention, when we won by 72% supermajority, I got in front of the press when Dave didn't show up and said he no longer wanted the endorsement of the Republican Party. And I praised his delegates who showed up there for him. And I'll do it right now. Those of you who voted for him, right on. You guys did good. You turned out for your candidate. And I support you for that, 100%. You guys, and that's the way it should be. I mean, this is America. Vote your heart. Vote for your candidate that you support. And I don't want to, here's me, Semi says, I will vote for someone that I believe in, someone who I support their policies, I support what they stand for. That's who I will vote for. I will not compromise my values, my beliefs, my morality for politics ever. Now that's me. You all want to play that game, play on. When you stand before your creator, right, then you can have that discussion at that time. I will make sure I'm clear and clean on how I live my life. That's just me, but that's me. See, you cannot care, or you may not even believe as I believe, and I still love you for that because we're cool like that. But I'm just saying how I believe is me. That's why I don't put that on you. You do you, I do me. Is that not America? We have rights. If you don't believe in God-given, well, then I will support you to say you have a human right to believe as you choose. But constitutionally, Article 1, Section 11, that's also guaranteed for your rights, and I will protect your constitutional rights as well. That's the beauty of this platform. See, people need to read this on all sides. It's a good place to be. We don't have to compromise that. Are you guys getting what I'm saying? Maybe it's time for us to stop compromising, and every single time we back up closer to the cliff, we think, well, if we don't do that, we get that. And that is really bad. But why do you think people aren't getting engaged? Is it possible that they have not felt the heat? Like a child touching the stove and it's hot, but they didn't get burnt, so they go back to the stove. The people who aren't engaged haven't gotten burnt yet. They're not paying attention. But I promise you, if Bob Ferguson gets elected, they will feel the sting. And I promise you, at least my analysis is, that next cycle, it'll be a very ripe cycle for the right candidate to get elected. So don't lose hope. Do not lose hope. Do not lose hope on those down ballot candidates, and do not lose hope on what may come. Seed the soil for what you want to grow and then nurture it to fruition. And I hope that makes sense. Stop playing the short game, y'all. Have a strategic plan and work towards it every single year, every single month. You need to start reaching out to young people. You need to start reaching out to minority organizations instead of talking about it. Stop sending a dandy out in the streets with a 3-piece Armani suit and Italian shoes and saying, I'm here to listen to you, and I'm very sincere about it. That doesn't cut it. They want to know that you're real, so be real. All right, where am I at? Where am I going? Okay, we'll do one more question, and then I'm going to cut it. Okay, can Bob stay on the ballot with the initiative, with the election interference? I know what you're saying, Gina. There's a video that was put out by a gentleman based on improprieties. It seems like every 5 minutes there's an impropriety with Bob, but based on what I saw, based on what I read, here's what I don't want to say predict, because cursory, just a glance at the documents, if everything is legitimate, and that's not fair to the person who put it all together. If it is what I think it is, there's a violation of law, then the legislature can bring forth an impeachment. That's what I understand it to be. So we and you and those who are empowered to do so, which is legislature, they have to bring forth the case and take the steps. So even if Bob gets put in office, Bob can be removed from office, things can happen. I don't want to predict because I have not looked into it deep enough, and I don't want to make an analysis or an assumption based off of a cursory view or glance. So that's why I'm careful, folks. We have to be careful about what we say, and I try not to say things that I don't know of. Kind of like Mr. Rant's rumors. Man, he's ruined people's lives with his rumors, hasn't he? Yeah. Do better, please. At least for other people. See if we have anything else. All right. I think I gave you guys all of my secrets. Okay, we've answered that. We'll go to the bottom. Give one more minute. And all right. Barring no more questions. Okay. Drum roll. All right, here it is. My endorsement. Folks, this is easy. And so someone said to me, thanks for addressing the lawsuit. Oh, Ray. No, absolutely. I'm not even sure I addressed the lawsuit, but yeah, there's 2 of them coming for me. Yes. So my endorsement, I think what's going to save Washington State is actually going to come from outside of Washington State. Again, we have some amazing down ballots. Keep an eye on that. Let's secure those ballots. Let's make sure we get the right people in office. Vote who you believe is the best candidate for you. Stop intimidating people. Support. Vote for who you want to. You have a constitutional right to do so. And all the people who are bringing hate and vilification against other people, I would say, please do better. Human decency and civility, we need to get back to it. Be the role model that you would want to be for your children and grandchildren, nieces and nephews. Do better. But stop intimidating people. And again, we have a right to vote for who we want to vote for, period. Don't do the mask mandate, vaccination mandate thing on fellow citizens. Knock it off. The savior, sole savior, I believe, of this nation and this world is God Almighty. That being said, my full endorsement and support goes to Donald J. Trump for Washington State. We need a better economy. We need to close our border. We need energy independence. We need someone strong who will not be bought, who will not be intimidated, who can't be pushed around, who will stand up against China, who's a national threat to our economy. We are a port state here in Washington State. He pushed back with tariffs. We need that strength right now in Washington, D.C. And given the choice between Kamala Harris and Mr. Waltz and President Trump and Mr. Vance, my clear endorsement is the Trump-Vance ticket. That is what we need for Washington State. So I will encourage every single person watching this show, please get everyone to vote for the Trump-Vance ticket. Please get out there. Make sure that they understand. You're not looking at the man's personality. It's policy. It's strength and leadership to say that we want a better economy. We need to close our borders. We need to protect our citizens. We need to stop investing in foreign wars. We need someone who will hold China accountable and protect our nation. Our dollar is at risk. It's been at risk for a long time. He is a businessman who understands it. You may not like the person, but we're looking at someone who can bring the policy that America needs to survive. And when you are so afraid of Bob Ferguson, that is the answer at the national level that'll bring a balance of protection for citizens of Washington State. So my endorsement goes to Donald J. Trump and Vice President Vance. That is what will save America. That is what will save Washington and every other state in this great United States. So guys, with that being said, I'm going to see you next week. We're going to have a guest on next week. I'm excited about it. We're going to change our format a little bit. I'm looking forward to seeing your questions next week. So be nice, be kind. Let's do better. And don't give up hope. Keep it together. Keep it together. Humanity depends upon you doing the right thing. And remember this. Go to the Washington State Republican Party. Read this platform. The first page will bring you to tears. It did me. God bless you guys. And we'll see you next week. Stay strong. God bless you.